listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
So, people who listen to our podcast are maybe not aware that we can see each other while we're, recording.
I feel like they know because we always treat it as if it's a visual medium, and it
it's
certainly
a problem. It's
is
true.
not.
Yeah. Well, we can see the upper halves of ourselves.
Yeah.
And both of you were just admiring my frock, my dress. As it turned out. And
Yeah.
then I got a little bit worried because it's warm out. And I said, is this a house dress? And that felt like, it's not even like one of those like 1970s caftan or something, or like a beach throw.
Okay, wait. Is it loose?
Yeah.
Is it long?
No, it's just a little bit past my knee.
I'm
wearing a house dress.
It's kind of like, it's kind of borderline house dress.
Okay, I'm going to walk back so you can see. Okay, hold on.
Well,
we might have to post a picture
I love this
of this
play-by-play.
people, so.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's got pockets. Like I think it's like really cute. It's to me a t-shirt dress, not necessarily a house dress.
Yeah.
Because when I think of house dress, I think of front pockets right on the stomach.
Oh, yeah.
And those are side pockets on the
side
hips.
pockets, yeah. And this is from Uniqlo.
But also,
too.
You need like a good kind of moo shape for a good house dress.
So this is not a house dress. This is like more, this is a little more, but I mean.
I know because I wear house dresses inside the house and outside the house. There's like no such thing as house dress and outside dress in my wardrobe. They're all the same.
There's not a single one of your dresses that you go, this is only for the inside. I would not wear outside.
Not really.
I have at least two dresses that are only inside dresses for me, or like on my patio. Like I don't wear them out. And one of them I'm actually wearing right now, but I can't stand up and show you because I folded it down to put a t-shirt over top of it. So if I just stood up right now and tried to lift up the bottom part of my shirt, I would just show you both my boobs. And we haven't done that yet as a group. Like we're saving that. We're saving that for our 7th anniversary this fall. Just show each other our boobs. Anyway, but it's a.
So what makes a house dress? What makes a house dress in your definition?
It's something that I would. I just like love to sort of lounge around in it. This one has like a crinkly, top portion. So it's quite like long. It's maxi length and it has a crinkly top portion and it's constantly getting pulled down my back because, it's just a pull up, thing. And so, I would never wear it outside the house just cause it's almost more like a pool cover up than anything,
Yeah, I know.
But it's 100% cotton, and I love it. And it's a weird, it's one of those weird Target buys that happened 10 years ago, and it has held up so beautifully that I wish I had 6 more.
Yeah, I love those kinds of dresses, but also I think is this a question of whether you find the dress too embarrassing to wear outside the house?
No.
Is that where the line is?
I don't personally. I am not embarrassed by this dress. But there's just there's nothing that I personally would want to wear with it that would make me leave the house in it. I don't know if that makes sense, right. But it's almost too airy and it would absolutely get caught up between my thighs and be a real it would just absolutely somehow show my labia at some point, the outline. You know what I mean?
Okay,
It's just too. Yeah.
We haven't done that yet, just for the record as well.
Also haven't done that yet either. Yeah. Yeah. So that's I don't think I have any dresses that I'm embarrassed to leave the house in.
I don't think I have any either. I just consider some dresses to be when it gets really warm and I come home, I tend to be much more of a a shirt and pants type person
Mm-hmm.
rather than a dress person. So coming home and putting on a dress makes me feel like I'm in a house dress because
Yeah.
you see, even though I could probably wear it out, it's psychologically to me, I'm putting on the house dress. And I wouldn't mind if it was like something, like some chic 1970s number that like Maude would wear or something, like when she answered the door, and it would have like almost look like a butterfly if she put her arms out. What are those ones called?
Those are caftans, aren't they?
Are those caftans?
Yeah.
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 I love those.
Yeah. I have tons of
Of
caftans.
course
You do?
Of course you do.
Love
Yeah.
them. Yeah. It's my favorite dress shape.
So it has the big wings kind of thing?
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
where do you buy those?
Yeah. Everywhere. I get a few every year, probably. All different fabrics, all different.
Do you get them made? Because
know.
I know that you sew, and I know that you were telling us about this great fabric store in Vancouver.
No, I haven't made one yet, but I have been contemplating making one now that you mention it. Yeah, but I just have to find the right pattern for it. And I know the pattern for a caftan is probably extremely simple, like 2 large rectangles sewn together or something. But I could probably figure it out.
It's about the
so,
print,
I don't
though,
know.
right? For a caftan, I would think, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you want a loose, flowy fabric. Like I was reading the other day that caftans are like, or, just like a loose big dress is the best way to beat the heat
Absolutely.
in your house.
Well, it beats the heat. It's also like there is nothing when you are wearing a garment where nothing is restrictive. You can you can do anything in that garment. Like it's actually kind of weirdly like I'm thinking about it now, and I'm not doing this on purpose, but like thinking about how like in the movie our like main character is told you're bad at everything, so you're capable of anything. A caftan is like kind of similar. Like it can
Wow.
do anything.
Wow.
It is
Wow, that's
it is the
profound.
Yeah,
Evelyn
it
of
is.
dresses, you guys. And I'm pretty excited about this now. I didn't mean to segue us so soon, but I can't help it. Evelyn could easily have done an incredible fight sequence in a caftan, and even in one of the universes where she has hot dog fingers. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And you're listening to Pop This. And if you haven't guessed it already, by our very minimal clues, Evelyn and hot dog fingers and multi-universes, we are talking about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Ooh, what a movie!
What a ride. I think as many times as people recommended it to me, or I knew about the hype and all of the excitement around it, I still don't think I anticipated it would be this.
Yeah, because I feel like it was highly recommended to me from the beginning. Everyone was like, you got to see it, you got to see it, you got to see it. I did not know that there would be such a huge emotional component on
me neither. I wasn't
multiple levels.
expecting
Like
that.
I was told it was wild and weird and cool and strange. But people, I guess, like maybe because like big emotional stuff is sort of hard to well, it's not hard, but like sometimes we discount its value. Not you and me and like not the three of us, because we're all about some of the big hard emotional stuff. But like I think like oftentimes it kind of like just gets a little bit pushed aside for some of the like wackier, weirder, wilder things in films. But this is such a perfect example of how the two feed each other, and that they have so much interrelationship, and that they don't need to be separate.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And it, like on another level too, like the movie just is so authentic to me. Like watching it, as a Chinese Canadian, like it's just like they nailed everything about the movie, and I just like my mind was completely blown on that level. Like the cultural stuff. Like they just, it's so
And
good.
not
Oh,
a
that's
single Trish in
fantastic.
sight. Hey, did you notice that?
No, that's fantastic. I can't wait to hear more
Yeah.
about like the insights and stuff from you. And I mean, I certainly related to this on a lot of levels as well. Like I don't have the immigrant experience, but like I absolutely related on a lot of levels to like you know, just complicated family dynamics, or even just thinking about like my friends' experiences with their families when I was growing up, and watching them relate back to their families. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to talk about this with you guys. Okay, I'm happy to do the background.
Okay.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is a 2022 American absurdist comedy drama film written and directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, collectively known as Daniels, who co-produced it with the Russo brothers.
I love that.
I know, me too. The Daniels is great. It stars Michelle Yeoh as a Chinese American woman being audited by the Internal Revenue Service, who discovers that she must connect with her parallel universe versions of herself to prevent a powerful being from causing the destruction of the multiverse. There's an incredible supporting cast: Stephanie Hsu, Kei Hu Kwan, Jenny Slate, Harry Shum Jr., James Hong, and Jamie Lee Curtis appear in that supporting cast. The role was originally written for Jackie Chan, the lead role. That
I know.
That is wild.
Well, apparently Michelle has phoned him like post this, like filming this movie, and was like, "Thank you for turning it down because it turned out amazing for me."
Good. And honestly, I love this for Michelle because she deserves it. The film received widespread critical acclaim. Reviews praised its imagination, direction. Yeah, Shu and Kwan's performances in the handling of themes such as existentialism, nihilism, and Asian American identity. It has grossed over $93 million worldwide, surpassing Hereditary.
That's incredible.
I know. Surpassing Hereditary in 2018 as A24's highest grossing film.
That's amazing.
Phenomenal.
That figure.
Yeah.
Like how successful it's
Well,
been.
and it hasn't even been out for that long. Plus, consider 2018 pre-pandemic. This comes out 2022, still deep in pandemic mode.
People were ready for this movie so much. It strikes me as you can't make this much money unless people are going back to see it as well.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. Like, I think maybe a lot of the audience has seen it a couple times at least.
Yeah, I mean,
because I feel like I'm going to.
This is the first movie in forever that I have immediately said, like, I need to buy it.
Yeah.
Like, I know Barb and Star last week, I had a very good time and I plan to rewatch it again and again and again, but I don't feel I need to buy it. This movie I do feel I need to buy. Not to compare them, but just, you know, it is what we watched most recently.
But there's a bit of a comparison in the we've done two you know, kind of heartfelt absurdist comedies for sure.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
You're right. That is what a gift of programming, guys.
Yes.
AG or Lisa, one of you want to read the synopsis?
Yeah, I can. Evelyn Wang is a stressed laundromat owner who's in the middle of an IRS audit. Her life is beginning to tilt off its axis, with her husband Wayman wanting a divorce and daughter Joy on the brink of leaving her family behind because Evelyn can't own up to the fact that Joy doesn't live up to certain expectations. Naturally, when Evelyn is thrown into the multiverse in a bid to fight Jobu Tupaki, the Alphaverse version of Joy, who is pushed to the edge, she has to face the mother-daughter issues with Joy / Jobu Tupaki to save the multiverse. And that's from May Abdubaki from Screen Rant.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I love the work that word naturally is doing in there.
Yes.
I love it so much. It's great. I gotta say, like, I know I'm gonna jump all over, and if you haven't seen this film, I think you should, and maybe like stop listening to us right now.
Yeah, because I think you want to go in there with like no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like
yeah.
it's not like there's spoilers, because in lots of ways there's nothing really to spoil. It's just the adventure that you go on that is completely unexpected. That's what you want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like honestly, when we say the phrase "everything bagel," that just has a new meaning. It is It is such a funny sight gag, and the way that like Jobu's hair mirrors the bagel, and like the concept of an everything bagel being the ultimate destruction and gluttony of the like the multiverses. Like I
love that.
loved it so much. I really it sent me over the edge. The hot dog fingers also gave me, I mean, they were so gross on a lot of levels because they're just so
But look what people can do with their feet.
Oh my god! Okay, so
you can play Claire de Lune on the piano.
I do not really enjoy looking at people's feet. So when we get to this,
who does?
Oh my god, some people do. There's a lot of websites. Sure, a lot of websites devoted to it. But yeah, I cannot handle close-up shots of people's feet. Like that's actually one of my peak Instagram gross outs for summer, is so many people are just taking shots of their feet and putting them on Instagram. And I do not feel I should have to see that. But,
I agreed. Sorry, did you have more feet things?
I just love that, like, when we get to that, like, return to the multiverse in the hot dog world, and it's like, look how incredible this stupid world where we have hot dogs for fingers, the beautiful things you can do with your feet is like one of the sweetest things I've ever heard in my entire life. And I love that in that universe, Michelle and Jamie Lee are like a couple who have found this like tenderness together that completely lands and anchors the ridiculousness and absurdity of the fingers, the hot dog fingers. I just love it so much.
Well, and that makes me think of, like, I wanted to talk about how like strong the casting is in this movie. God, so like everyone just hits it out of the park. Like Stephanie Hsu, like, do you recognize her from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Yeah, she's great. I love.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
Yeah.
Oh,
she's like on the like verge of becoming a breakout.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's so good. And, you know, like in both Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and this, like she kind of like every scene she's in, she just like steals the scene. She's so good.
Yeah, she has a real kinetic energy and I love it.
Yeah, and she's like so good at doing different types of characters. Like, yes, just, I don't know. It's so expressive. But also Ki Hui Kwan, like,
oh my God.
Wow.
I loved him so much. I have never, I don't know, I haven't rooted for a dude like that in a long time.
But I mean, I immediately recognize his voice from like the Goonies and from Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
like, it's incredible.
I did not. When you said it, it felt like the Sixth Sense. Of all like click, 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 click. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's just like apparently, you know, like since those movies, he's been working as, you know, a director and behind the scenes on different movies, including like he worked on 2046 by Wong Kar-wai. And you can sort of see those scenes in this movie.
Was that on purpose to look like In the Mood for Love?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I'm watching thinking this is ridiculously similar. This can't be a coincidence. But then when I find out it was so beautiful and so perfect, including the smoking in the shadows and and the suit and everything.
And he goes from pulling off like a laundromat, you know, dad, nerd kind of dad to this like debonair stranger.
No, it was
it's like,
and the way he would take the glasses off and suddenly become hot and sexy and then put them on again. It was you could just feel everyone's it was so smart on so many levels, because what I really noticed, and coming out of, how do I say this? There were certain times in the movie where I felt like I wasn't in watching a movie about something weird. I was connecting on certain feelings.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And one of them was that, you know, here he was wanting to get divorced from his wife because she just wasn't the person that he fell in love with. And we can see why. She's very unhappy with herself, so therefore she's going to be unhappy with everyone. But when you see him make the transformation and you realize we can all do that, and that's going to be what this whole movie is about what we can all do on our own. And those moments were just so meaningful, and they were, as much as they felt throwaway and just kind of funny, they weren't at all.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think this movie hits on, like, it connects every single thing, and it shows us that, like, if everything means nothing, then everything means something, in that kind of cliched way that we talk about. And this movie takes a lot of those sort of big feelings and big, messy, chaotic, sort of like existential questions, and it really like reinvests us in hope, you know, like in sort of a very, like, I mean, this this movie feels like one of the most hopeful things I've ever seen. And it's every storyline. It's not, you know, like, because I think particularly he's not in the main sort of universe where they live. He's not requesting a divorce because he's so unhappy. He knows that she's so unhappy, and he thinks that like he's the problem, that like this life is making her miserable, and that he is going to, you know, he's a very selfless character in a lot of ways, and he has so much faith in her. And it really charms me to see how that faith continues in all the multiverses, as if like it also believes in soulmates, even though we see that in different universes they might not be partnered in the same way. There's still this like much deeper love and belief in each other ultimately, even though Evelyn is feeling quite lost in this universe. Oh my God, you guys, I cried many times, and I also laughed so much. And I also had only had 2 hours of sleep that day, so I fell asleep.
Oh my gosh!
Parts. Oh, yeah, it was really brutal. Like, I was awake for like 40 hours, so it was a weird time to watch this movie.
Yeah, my gosh.
You just had insomnia?
Yeah, I had really brutal insomnia. Oh God, Sunday night to Monday, and so like I didn't fall asleep until 8 o'clock in the morning. Stayed asleep until about 10:30, and then had to go to work because I had a lot to do, and then I forced myself to stay awake like all day. But I had to rewatch like about half an hour of the movie the next day, because I was just like, I know that I was nodding off and I don't want to miss anything. You know what I mean? Like it was a chaotic state to watch this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the storyline, especially like the two directors who wrote it, the Daniels, like they wrote it about their immigrant families. And I think the concept of it is like, it really hits home if you're from an immigrant family, because it is like you have like your parents or your grandparents could have chosen to move to a completely different country, or chosen to do completely different things that would have made like your whole family's story completely different. And it's something that you think about, because it's like, you know, like, why did my grandparents choose to come here? What if they had chosen to go there? Like, you know, and like, what would have my life have been like, or would I exist, or whatever? But yeah, like that is, I felt that part of the story was just like, I got it so much.
Yeah.
The pressure that you know, families feel too, that such a sacrifice was made for them. That I know with my grandparents, it was very much like, we came to Canada because we were going to we wanted your dad and uncle to have a better life. You know, we wanted them to be able to do better things. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's like the end of Saving Private Ryan. Did they do that? Did you feel that this whole thing was worth it? Like, do you look at them and go, phew? Well, I mean, I do, as you said, I'm glad they came, because I wouldn't be here. But yeah, you do wonder, like, did they feel like it was worth
like
it?
what in their multiverse, like they're like, if they had decided to not, you know, immigrate to Canada, like what other versions of them are there out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know, these are very powerful questions, and I think like the way that this movie addresses like generational divides and connection and invites us to sort of like explore those really big things. Like, I love that this movie isn't afraid of mess, you know, because sometimes a lot of stuff feels too messy for us to take on or feels too big for us to question. And like, this movie kind of invites us to witness it and witness other people doing it, gives all kinds of entry points for relatability and identification for its audiences. And like, then it's going to lead us to sort of explore way bigger things than maybe sometimes some people explore, you know? Like I don't know. I really am still so floored by how great this movie is.
And there's also, just on a surface level, just the way it played with genres. I mean, we were just talking about how, you know, it imitated In the Mood for Love, but also martial arts films, just sheer fun fighting scenes that were ridiculous and over the top, just like the reason why you like a martial arts film, which I can see why Jackie Chan was originally cast for this, because if there was that much fighting, and I mean, it spoke to Michelle's skills as well, absolutely, because that's something she can do. So it felt like, I know when she keeps saying it was the movie that she's always dreamed of being in, I'm like, how could there be a story that is so uniquely designed for you? It is bizarre.
When I saw that they were going to do an entire fight sequence with Alpha Waymond and a fanny pack.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Cannot, like, the joy that I felt in my soul was just, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't know that I needed that. And just to watch like his grace and speed and dexterity and honestly just like the creative ingenuity of all the different ways to use that fanny pack. Look, if anyone was gonna say that fanny packs are not cool, like, ever again, no, this movie proves they're everything.
I was a little bit little bit harmed though by the using a Pomeranian as a weapon. So I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, but that they nailed it again with that like fanny pack classic Asian dad thing. It's incredible. Like I don't like, yeah, they just got everything
all
right.
the details are like right there.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean that's good, right? Like this is like this, you know, we want to see movies that feel authentic and feel like they're showing us things that we don't always see on screen, and we should be seeing them on screen. But I feel like this is, I don't feel like I've ever seen this kind of movie before.
No, I never have. And I was reading, I think it was in the LA Times, but an interview with the Daniels, and they were talking about how, you know, like it's a tribute to their parents. Like it's a movie about their parents. But they also wanted to give a hat tip to like the internet, because like they were raised by the internet and their mom and dad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
yeah. The speed of the internet really, you know, that even though they were like really meaningful moving scenes, they were moving so quickly. I can see that.
Can I just say, like, so I was surprised. Well, one, I mean, I also identify with like so many different aspects of this movie and all the different, you know, just like how you can sort of like feel like everything is a failure and stuff. But when we get to the scenes in which Jobu and Evelyn are just two rocks.
Oh, I know.
yeah.
Oh my God, you guys, it's so funny and also so tear-jerking and so beautiful. And then when what's the quote? I got it right here. Oh, Jobu says, "Every new discovery is just a reminder," and then Evelyn cuts her off and says, "We're all small and stupid." And like, yes, that's like I know that's like said from sort of like kind of a more fatalist place at that moment, but like it's a humble realization too, especially in the middle of you know, a multiverse breakdown. which is what they're both going through. But like, I was not prepared for the mother-daughter work that this movie was going to present
I
to
know.
me or invite me to consider. And I was just like, like it was just like, so did I think that this was going to be like the new Mother's Day viewing that should be happening like every year? No. But do I want to show it to like my mom and my sister and have all three of us watch it together? Yeah, I do.
And just think about your mom following you through every multiverse.
I just like it's a it's a very powerful concept, and I think like it doesn't even have to be like your mom, like even just like, powerful caretakers or mentors, or like, the sort of, we talk a lot about that sometimes mother-daughter relationships are complicated, and I think complicated partly, frankly, just by the patriarchy. So there's like this sort of like idea that you have an instant camaraderie between women, but there's also somehow like an undercurrent of rivalry, because that's what our society is set up to do, is like pit, underrepresented people against each other. And I think that this movie deals with that and addresses that in so many fascinating ways. And like at the end, when they have their sort of big confrontation, and Evelyn is like, hey, now wait a minute. You never call me. And she goes into her list of like things that she feels justified in saying, but still that like, and asking her daughter to take some accountability of herself and in their relationship as well, but also admitting, that she has not brought her full self to this relationship either. I love when those dynamics get explored so fully, and so, because it's really easy to blame someone else in a relationship between two people, and this movie takes no easy ways out.
Yeah, agreed. And like just thinking about this idea that like some versions of yourself don't necessarily get along with your mom, but like other versions of yourself really get along with your mom. And yeah, just I don't know, it makes you think deeply about that.
Oh yeah, it made me think a lot too about the whole concept of the how much we deny ourselves our greatness. That that it's I think there's it's that Marianne Williamson quote, right? That you playing small doesn't do the world any good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's people get a tendency to think that by playing small, they are being selfless. And what a great and wonderful virtue being selfless is. Not so much. When you become too selfless, then you might as well be that rock up on a bluff looking out with your googly eyes or whatever it is. Really, there's not much point. So I really love the way it explored that concept of selflessness.
Yeah.
So Andrea, did you really relate to the googly eye aspect of this?
As soon as the googly eyes came on, you guys, I mean, I related to the selflessness, and also then the selfishness, and like then the googly eyes. There are so many entry points I gotta say, for me personally in this film. The googly eyes made me laugh so hard. As soon as it happened, I turned to Carlos and I was like, that's you and that's me, and oh my God. And but I know, I think like I've seen some people get just really defined by their bitterness, and one of the things that I love so much is like when eventually Evelyn has worked through some of the stuff, she no longer looks at that googly eye with anger.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at it with this like appreciation for Wayman's lightheartedness and what he like. It's important what he brings to their relationship too. It's not just about how dissatisfied she is with like their lives, and so like and I know what it feels like to sort of get caught up in just like only seeing the sort of like, I don't know, the real infuriating pieces of life, you know? Like it's
Yeah.
not great.
So wait, are you saying that you went on a similar journey with Carlos and your googly eyes?
No, that's the thing. Like I'm very lucky that I'm always charmed by him. So like while certain things for sure definitely like drive me a little bit mad.
Him sticking googly eyes on things?
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's out of all the things,
didn't-
like that's a pretty innocuous quirk, and it's very funny ultimately. And I think like we communicate really well, and we have the ability to be on the same page more often than we're not. And I think that's like a real gift of communication. And that's one of the things we see in the film is just like your world becomes so small when you stop talking to each other.
Mm.
And
I mean,
you know,
yeah, like have you been so stressed out in a movie before watching those first scenes of Evelyn's working in the laundromat, like her everyday life, basically? I was so stressed out watching all of that, like her doing 100 things at once.
yeah, it's
Like
impossible.
all the time.
Those little shifts too, those really clever little cutaways to how she knows exactly how to kick the footstool.
Yes.
Just exactly in the right place. She's done it so many times.
Yeah.
It's so perfect and so small.
But just and having multiple conversations going on at the same time with different people and dealing with people coming at her from like totally different places.
And that she feels that she is the only person who will shoulder the burden. Like it's all on her, you know? And it looks like an incredibly stressful and absolutely unsustainable life. And
yet she's been doing it for very long.
Yeah, but yet her
time.
husband found a way to enjoy it. I guess because we're led to believe that was his dream and she went along with it. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that that's definitely a fair interpretation. And like,
well, I get like they show that like, you know, they moved to America with the hopes of, I'm sure, like, you know, building a successful business that they have multiple laundromats and you know, like it's the dream. But once they got there, kind of it settled into, you know, this life where it's so hectic and never ending, and you know, it's so much hard work, and it maybe didn't seem to move them any closer towards, you know, their goals, their, you know, financial goals.
And being on the wrong side of the IRS, like they address it only a little bit, but they do, you know, Evelyn does talk about it of just being like feeling like they're targeting an immigrant family.
Yeah.
You know, and not and I completely absolutely believe it, of course, because like the IRS has so many, I've heard so many horror stories.
it has such power, such ultimate power.
Yeah.
Such ultimate power. And unless you are already rich enough to be able to handle it, have it handled for you by like professionals, then you are at the whim of a bunch of rules and legalese that you don't understand. And it's deeply unfair. Like even just like the sort of like racist microaggressions of like, well, I thought your daughter was going to be here to like translate for you, you know? And it's like, they lay it out for us very clearly, which is, I really appreciate. It obviously like it doesn't necessarily echo throughout the rest of the film, but it's always there as like this foundation. And the reality in this universe is that like, yeah, it's not easy for them at all. I also really, really love, obviously James Hong, like he's great.
Yeah.
He's like a hero, you know, I mean, he's like 92 years old or something. He's been in like so many movies.
So
he's had
many,
so many roles.
And he got a good part in this one too.
It's a great part. I love it so much. Even just to like see, like it just even to see him interacting kind of almost silently with Joy's girlfriend when she says like, I love old people.
Yeah.
Which is classic, thing people say.
Yeah.
And just to like watch him interact with her, even in small moments, I just, and honestly, that the film does tackle, just like internalized homophobia and it there's so much going on, and it never, but it all feels extremely natural, contemporary, and just part of like the modern life of all of these folks.
Yeah. I just love how Michelle Yeoh gets to like show off everything she can do here. And like the footage of her on the red carpets and stuff is like actual red carpet footage. Daniels were saying that they wanted to originally like license some of her movies, to add into her movie star timeline, but it was too complicated to get all those things licensed, so they just went with her red carpet footage.
Yeah, I can see that. Like her red carpet footage is beautiful.
I know, but like all of it just makes you so emotional for her because it's such a deserving like career high best role for her, where she just gets to show off like everything that she can do.
It's almost as if she's like in that movie.
Like
as if it's her own story. Yeah. But I suppose the idea is to take away is that that's everyone's story, isn't it? I mean, we're all wondering, like Gwyneth Paltrow in Sliding Doors, what would happen if we made the subway and didn't make the subway, right? Or like our lives are always spent wondering if we'd gone down one road and not the other. And it was really fun to get to see what her life would have looked like when she made all kinds of other decisions.
And I love the different universes. Which universe is your guys' favorite, like of the multiverses?
Well, I have a soft spot for the Wong Kar-wai universe, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I would agree, but I also have a very soft spot for the hot dog fingers with Jamie Lee Curtis. It was just very, very sweet.
And the rocks.
Oh, God. Okay, so all three of those I love so much. I want to give a little prop to the Alpha verse because I think it's fascinating that there's still hierarchy in these multiverses, where this is the universe that has figured out how to cross communicate, has figured out how to jump between universes, has put into play this like sort of incredible, I don't know, just like these incredible advances, and yet it all still rests on the shoulders of this very multi-layered, complex, middle-aged Chinese American woman. And I just love the, like, just that in that universe, in Evelyn's sort of contemporary current universe, she's, a really normal, average person. She's not a movie star. She's not, she's a stressed out woman who is also a mom who is really worried that her daughter is not going to like.
I think you're singing the Reba theme song.
I just love that, like, this is the woman who saves the world, like, and I like those stories.
Like Frodo.
Yeah, like Frodo, but like, just that we finally get a racialized woman in that role. You know what I mean? Like and I know that there are other examples, I'm sure, but like, I also feel like they just handled the multiverse so successfully compared to, I don't know, let's say some of the multiverse experiences that I have seen in like Marvel. Like, this is a multiverse that I can really get behind. And it feels really exciting because it has like all of the outlandish absurdity that I want, and all of the great costumes, like the costumes in the bagel.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh my God. Incredible. Like the costumes that Joy gets to wear in like when she's like her evil
Amazing.
character, when she's dressed as Elvis, basically. You know what I'm talking? Like the white leather jumpsuit.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
it's just like one genius look after another.
But also like Evelyn's looks like Evelyn, my grandma had that same like vest, pants, shirt outfit on all the time when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
The equivalent to the house dress? Is that what you're saying? Maybe?
Yeah, that was the house dress for
exactly.
Chinese grandmas
the
back
Chinese
in
grandma
the
look.
80s, 90s. Oh, they still do it today.
I think so. I
yeah.
think I've seen that look
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Instagram accounts is I believe that they're Chinese grandparents, and their grandchildren convince them to like try on the clothes that their laundromat guests leave behind.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
I've
it's
seen,
so
I follow
great.
that too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they like create these incredibly cool, like they look like they're Gucci model
Absolutely.
outfits from like, yeah, just random stuff that people never pick up. And I think they first did it as like trying to remind their customers to come and pick up their dry cleaning.
But it's honestly, it's like what a fun
What's it
account.
called?
Like,
I have to look it
Yeah,
up.
I
I
don't
can't
remember
quite
off the top of my
remember
head.
what the
Okay.
Instagram.
Yeah. I'll look it up then.
we can link to it in the show
I'll
notes
link to it.
too.
Yeah, I'll link to it in the show notes.
One of the reviews that you linked to, AG, sort of talks about recalls sort of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or Pixar's Inside Out, and the sort of quote, antic cleverness serves a sincere and generous heart. And I think like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is such a good and relatable relative of this film, you know, on a lot of levels. Like I think it's I haven't watched that movie in a long time, so I don't know how it holds up, but yeah, that just like that tenderness underneath all the hot dog fingers. I love it.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything about this movie I didn't like. And it was long. Can I tell you? It was over 2 hours.
I was wondering how you were dealing with the length.
Yeah.
But it goes by so fast.
It did go by very quickly, so I will give it a pass.
But did you hear today they're going to release like a director's cut into theaters, which has like 8 more minutes?
Oh,
tacked
I would
onto
go
it?
I would go to the theater to see it. I was actually thinking about how I wish I had seen it in the theater. So that's great. I will go and see it that way then.
Yeah, I feel like I need to see it again because I feel like there's so much I missed probably.
Yeah, I think I'd watch it differently too.
There's so much I missed. Like we haven't even talked about the raccoon. Like
Yeah.
You mean a rat? That's very, very funny.
Raccoon.
It's just the writing in this.
It's
something we kind of didn't talk about either. It's incredible.
The writing is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there are so many quotes in the film. I was thinking, oh my God, I have to turn so many of these like moments, because we always watch with captions on. So I was like, I have to turn so many of these like shots into like inspirational stills that I just like remind myself to think about this all the time.
Like a raccoon cooking food on top of that chef's head.
That was not one of my inspirational moments.
Very, very inspirational.
Yeah. That's how you get some good cooking. So I'm just saying.
Apparently, yeah.
There you go.
You need a small animal sitting on your head telling you what to do.
I mean, I love it because it feels so unrelated, and yet they bring it all back, you know? Like, you just when she switches positions with him and then she runs with him on the shoulders and then she launches him into the back of oh God, I love it.
The other movie it made me think a lot of is Amelie. I don't know if that came up, but just that surreal with the kind of those great, cutaway fantastical scenes, but at the same time there's a real heart to her story of loneliness and wanting to connect with people, even though this was not that message, but there was a feeling of that. I was thinking about Amelie when I was watching this.
I was thinking about Russian Doll because of like the idea of finding your mom and through time.
Yeah, and both of those are like,
Yeah.
both of those make a lot of sense to me. I think like I was so impressed at its ability to tackle multiple family dynamics, because like, yes, it's a mother-daughter story, but it's also a husband and wife story, and it's also a father-daughter story. And you know, I mean, we haven't even mentioned that like she was basically disowned by her father for marrying Waymond, and that has like weighed really heavily on her all along. And now her dad is there because, and only because he's sick and can't be alone. You know, that's a very different way to be like reunited after many decades of potential silence. Like just, you know, he has no choice, and she is expected to just swallow all the silence. And
just all of that stuff about like if your parents think you made a bad choice and they come and see your life and they don't think you've made much of your life, like it's that just huge burden you have to carry with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I know how we all feel, but let's ask a round of questions. Just one question. Does this pop?
Yes, big pops.
Yes,
I don't
big time.
think I've ever wanted to pop for something more than this movie, I have to say.
And it's the first movie where I've like finished watching it and kicked myself for not buying it instead of renting it.
Yeah, I completely agree. It pops so hard, and you're right. It is absolutely the first movie that I've wanted to buy in a very long time. I love it.
Yes, I highly, and if you haven't seen it, because I did put it off for too long, I have to say, but I'm really glad I finally did see it. So glad.
Oh, me too. I was waiting for it to come out because I haven't been to theaters, and it's like the one time where I've been like, oh man, it really would have been nicer to have like a big TV. But if they are releasing a director's cut, maybe it will go to the drive-in too again. All right, we like to leave our episodes on something we recommend as well in our other lives. Lisa, do you want to go first?
Sure. I read this really great piece in the Weekend New York Times. It is by Jason Zinnoman. So I hope I'm saying that correctly. Zinoman. And it's a profile on Janine Garofalo and where she is right now with her comedy. And just looking back at the movie Reality Bites, looking at the concept that I haven't heard in a long time. And it's funny that it was brought up in here. And it really made me laugh that I haven't thought about it in a long time. But the concept of selling out. Which this writer argues is very 90s, which is what Reality Bites was all about.
Totally.
And in lots of ways, Janine Garofalo had signed on to, in that she wanted to be this authentic self. You know, the people that were around her whose careers definitely took off when hers didn't. A large part of it is just the fact that she's kind of wanted it this way. This is what she wanted to be, and she hasn't changed or swayed. You know, Bob Odenkirk is quoted as saying, like, if she has a really good night when she does some comedy, she doesn't want to do it again the same way, even though it was really good, because she just doesn't feel that's authentic. So it's a really great piece. The headline is Reality Bit, but She Bit Back. And I highly recommend it. Really great piece.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, I've seen it making the rounds, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
AG, what about you?
So I had a recommendation all ready to go, but then I decided at the last minute I needed to switch it out because yesterday Yuzuru Hanyu announced his retirement from competitive figure skating. And he's my favorite skater and one of the greatest skaters of all time, and I'm feeling really emotional about it. But yeah, I want to recommend watching his 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic short program, which I will link to in the show notes, because I think it is the greatest program anyone's ever skated in the history of the world.
Incredible.
Okay.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I look forward to that.
I am very thrilled by this. Oh, I'm sorry that he's retired, though. I know
Yes,
that's
I'm
a
sorry.
loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am going to recommend Lizzo's new album, Special. It is, it's Lizzo. It's incredible. Of
Is it
course
about
is.
damn time?
It is. It is great. And I want to just read a little bit of the review, the 5-star review from Rolling Stone, because I think it's a good context for where we're at listening to this record. Arriving mere weeks after the Roe decision, when every woman in the United States has lost autonomy over their body, it's impossible to hear Special in any other way. And all Lizzo did to make a political statement was to let us in on what it feels like as a thick Black woman in the 21st century who doesn't tiptoe around who she is and what it's been like. 3 years ago, Lizzo's sleeper hit Truth Hurts dominated the world, setting the stage for her 2019 album, 'Cause I Love You. Then came the pandemic. Special is a document of what Lizzo was dealing with on her journey to find sex, self-acceptance, and hope. Truth hurts, but truth sets you free. The music on this album is the most unabashedly joyous, sonically diverse, and emotionally profound album put out by a major label since Beyoncé's Lemonade.
Wow, that is a great
Wow.
review.
Yeah. And I just love it. And that's I'm just glad we could all be here to share that. And we live in a time of Lizzo. We're getting a Lizzo record, last week called Special. We're getting a Beyonce album next week. And honestly, it's just nice to feel some hope in July.
That's a good, yeah.
Yes.
Instead of just sweaty.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Gotcha.
Love it. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope that you've had fun with us and you find your own hot dog fingers.
Which is so strange if you haven't seen this movie, but we've referenced it enough that you're probably intrigued.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully. God. I mean, hot dog fingers. That's
Yeah.
such a classic. Again, just this movie just plays with all of our weird stuff in the world, and I love it. You can hang out with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com. Also, it's probably a good time to let you know that our summer schedule is coming up, and we are going to be releasing new episodes only every 2 weeks in August and September. So just, don't worry, we're not dead. We're just taking a little break.
Just taking a little timer off, right? And
we're going to a different multiverse.
Yay! Yeah, we'll have so many stories and anecdotes to bring you.
So many.
It'll be amazing. Thank you all so much for listening. And thank you, as always, to Andrea Gin, our co-host and our producer here at Pop This Inc. It's a great pleasure to get to do this every week. Well, you never know. We could become a company one day. You never know.
We could. Who knows?
Who knows? In another universe, God knows what Pop This is doing right now.
I mean, we've probably reinstated the guillotine and
yeah,
for crimes against pop culture. And that's what our podcast is.
And it's not CNN, it's AAL. It's just...
Yep, it's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.